All right, y'all. So I got a 70 and a 90. So 70, 50, M, 90, EKX 18 and EKX 15. What I will tell you guys, so right now I'm running into the RCA. This is set at -2 and +4. I never took it. This is like 4 years old. Never took that off. That's funny. Actually, I haven't taken these off either. No wonder. So I'm keeping these. Oh, I took that one off. All right. So what I can tell you right out of the gate, if I set them all to 0, if I set them all to live and or music, here's what I hear. Okay. The Evolve has this low mid thing. It'd be great for like filling in a small room, or just like some cocktail music, just where you don't want it to be invasive to your party. It's not the point of why you're there. I use the Evolve 50M. This is the 50M for gigs for a long time. Sounds great, just doesn't have that throaty, kick you in the chest kind of punch. It's more of a really nice flat, like, I feel like what you would think about with like a decent theater system in your house. The 70 and the 90, man, they're tuned. I don't know if it's because of the laminar vent. Obviously the same top, if you guys didn't know that already. The highs, man, I found myself cutting off maybe 2 or 3 dB. This is just on the main EQ for the speakers. Cutting off 2 or 3 dB and then adding a couple of the mids, which makes sense to me because I tend to like vocal forward, and I like a warmer mix. I don't like highs as much. So especially on that, like Mario, the last song, Let Me Love You, it's got that harsh snare, whatever you want to call it, clap, and that boomy bass. And I turned these up to +4 on the sub. That still wasn't clipping at very high volume at all. Wasn't even showing clipping. So I don't know what you guys are talking about with limiting all the time, because with a quality music source, I had this. It was easily, I was out in my yard, maybe, I don't know, 20, 30 feet. I don't know the dB, but it was easily over 90, maybe even over 100, and no clipping whatsoever, which, if you guys don't know, like, unless you want to run your music at 120 decibels, I don't want to do that. These I ran for a couple weddings. I ran for my wedding. It's actually when I got this sub. Man, So I told you I turned this up. They're all set in live. I do know that this one's set in music. Bumps a little more, but it's more flubby than these two in live. So I'm assuming it'd be flubby in music. I could check that still, but it would bring a little more low end as opposed to just the smooth bass it brings in a live setting. So a couple other differences that are worth noting. Fans and these. So I've had these tops for a real long time, and the sub for 4 years. I just got these literally a little more over a month ago. I've had this for 2 years, or 3 actually, maybe. Yeah, also, Evie, come on, get with the program on the covers. I need the covers. Anybody know where I can get a cover right now? I'm starting to scratch them up. I hate it. Got the cover for the 50, but I got that one late too because they don't come out when the tower comes out. It's stupid. They need to source those things before they release, so that way we don't scratch stuff up. I never even used the cover for these bad boys. I should have. Still looks pretty good for 6 years old though. Just needs a little wipe down. Anyways, I got this one used, so that's what this big gash is from, but it's still fully functional, just something stupid. But yeah, so fans, they do have passive radiators on these, so they don't get super hot, at least as far as I've noticed. Yeah, I can still put my hand on it, so it's not getting, ooh, that one's hotter than the other two. But yeah, these ones, they have the fans. That's still pretty hot though. Of course, it's it's an amp, it's gonna get hot, but yeah, so I would say comparably, the radiators are a little hotter than the fan one for sure, and then the 50 is definitely hottest, given I was running it about the same volume as these. These have a lot of headroom still based on what I was doing, but yeah, Looks like they have about the same amount of radiation, and then the fans. So as far as the sound, man, I honestly, I didn't think I was gonna say this, but I like the towers, the column arrays sound from the 70 and 90 better than the 15 top. Given this is set with the sub, so the sub and the top are matched. There's a preset on them, so you know, take that with a grain of salt maybe, but that's how I would assume most people would run them if they have both. Yeah, kudos to EV for the way they tune these 70s and 90s. The punch of the sub while still maintaining that roundness is wonderful. That must be the laminar vent system they got going, or whatever it's called. And then, you know, like I said, I found myself cutting off some highs. Even on this I would want to, but I don't have any EQ on this because I'm just running to the RCA. With a board I could cut off some highs, maybe add some lows, but yeah, tuning these, I really love the low end I get out of them, even more than the EKX 15. ETX I've heard does hit a little harder, but they're also super heavy. This one's like, I want to say it's like 80 pounds or so. And then this sub, even though it looks, it's basically just the EKX flipped on its side, but stood up. It is slightly lighter, and then the handles, because they're more ergonomic, I feel like it makes it easier to carry. But this one, honestly, I'll hold it with one handle sideways when I'm carrying it. It's not too bad. Like, if I would keep anything from the 50M to IC's turned on, the 50M to the EKX sub to the EKX top. This is an 18 sub and a 15 top. Don't get me wrong. I would probably keep that sub with these just because it's for the form factor, man. They're great. And don't get me wrong, like, I used this for 4 years after I got the sub, and I used these tops for 6 years, or I guess shouldn't say 6 years, but 6 years ago till about when I got this tower. And man, they sound great. I will say, I do feel like the reason why I like these tops better from the column arrays, even the 50, I like the vocals better than this top. And I think EV, when they tuned these speakers, so it's a 15 and a 1-inch compression horn, and I want to say the 12 would probably sound better with 18. That's what people have told me too, but it just sounds like there's a little bit of upfront missing from the vocal. It's more highs, and it's got a little bit of mid scooped out, it seems like. So yeah, if there's anything else, obviously setup, you know, even just for today, you know, you got a 70-pound subwoofer and a 60-pound top. You got a subwoofer pole, speaker pole. You've got to run a cord from the top to the bottom, and then from your mixer to the sub. I actually ran it backwards because I'm running through the RCA because I didn't want to get my mixer out. I got a gig later today. This literally Bluetooth. I will say, I would never run these Bluetooth, but if I did, I would not run them with the Bluetooth link. I would run one and run it as a slave in mono. I tried the link a little bit ago, and I was just like out there, I don't know, 40, 50 feet, and it was cutting out. Given it might have been my signal from my music, it wasn't downloaded. I probably should try that. But yeah, if you guys are professional, you don't rely on Bluetooth anyways. You know, I use Bluetooth for my gigs when I'm out playing shows, but I leave my device literally right on the device, right on the sub here. You know, it fits perfectly here on this one. That is one thing I kind of thought they would address with the new ones that they didn't. This is perfect for a drink. This definitely is. So is this. This one, it was small enough that you couldn't get one on, and then they made this angled and everything. So they definitely kept the form factor, but like this is, I mean, this is big enough for cup after cup, you know what I mean? Which, I don't know, some people might not care. I thought it was a nice little thing with the 50s that you couldn't fit a drink on there, at least not comfortably. I'm not gonna lie, I still did it, but so yeah, this is This was purely a music review. Like I said, my 3 songs I really used, I'm very familiar with all 3, and they all have different parts of the song that I really focused on. Slow Dancing in a Burning Room, just the overall mix, the guitar in that song. The vocals are pretty high, they're pretty hi-fi, they're pretty out there, so I didn't really focus on that too much. Then You Should Probably Leave. It's got a super live sound to it. The kick in there is really great, and the bass is just punchy as crap. Shout out to Stapleton and Chris Lord Algae for mixing that, because it's one of my favorite songs to tune my PA for when I'm out for shows. Again, I thought the towers, the bigger column arrays really did well with the bass. The 50M, man, for, like I said, for a smaller room, for a cocktail hour, for DJs, if you're not looking to blow people out of the water. A lot of wedding venues even have, no subwoofer rules and stuff like that now, which I think is dumb. But, for that kind of thing, the 50M's great. I'll just tell you guys right now, I'm selling the 50M, and I'm using the 15 via the 70 for my shows with an analog mixer right now. Hopefully get a digital mixer eventually, but this is my main show PA now. I've got an Everse 8 for smaller gigs that sounds great for what it is, and literally it's a mixer. It's 15 pounds. You can hold it in your hand. Little tiny 8-inch speaker, a couple cords, mic stand, and a mic, and you're good to go. The 90, man, I'm gonna keep the 70 and 90, sell the 15 and sell the 50M and sell the EKX system. I've got another top, which that's also another consideration. I never ran this system with sub top. It was always sub 2 tops. I did, however, and this actually really worked well, ran one side of the EKX 15 and one 50M as the mixer for everything and the slave, but ran the main out right. That worked really well for a lot of weddings. That's what I did until I just got these. I've got a wedding tomorrow. That's why I'm doing all this video and also just testing things out. I know this is a long-winded video, guys. I'm just trying to think of everything you'd want to know. Lastly, small stuff. Power cables are locking, but they are shorter than the old ones. EV, I don't know why you did that, or if I'm just crazy. Maybe, let's look. Here's an old speaker power cord. Let's see how much longer it is. Oh, there's a tie in it. Give me a sec. Oh no, there's not. Yeah, there is. So there's the cord right there. So this one's plugged in. So that's basically where the plug is. This last one is stretched all the way. So it's almost twice, this cord is almost twice as long, give or take, than that bigger cord that's plugged into the 70. So I don't know why they made them so much shorter. I guess they assume people are going to use a power strip per side or something, but I've got one of these, and I've got a power conditioner in my wireless rig, so I probably can get by with those two things if I bridged them. I don't want to do that though, because I mean, why can't I just run out of one power conditioner? These don't pull enough power anyways. Again, I'm talking aloud here. Thoughts. Looks, obviously the new ones look the best, if you guys can tell. I don't know if you probably can with this pretty bright sun out here. This one's obviously seen better days. It's not perfect, but I've used this sub a lot, and it's also honestly gathered dust the past couple years. I haven't used it much because I got the 50M for shows. Obviously I wouldn't use the sub for an acoustic solo show. I could, it'd be overkill. Wouldn't really use it. Wouldn't be utilized, I should say. But the tops I used for years, they're great. Obviously consider the comments I said earlier. The towers in general, you know, people love the Bose. I do think the dispersion on Bose is slightly better, but I just never, especially at higher volumes, I've never liked the sound signature of Bose. I saw a guy that he's a DJ on YouTube. I don't remember his name off the top of my head, but he was running two Bose L1 Pros. It was either Pro 16s or 32s. I think it was 32s. Two 32 towers and 6 of the B1 subs. And I'm like, for one, those are super old now. They're not even updated. don't get me wrong. If it doesn't sound bad, like, stick with it, right? But, and obviously if you run 6 subs, you're going to have good sound. For these, man. And again, I haven't ran these in stereo yet. I'm going to tomorrow for my wedding gig. I'm going to be playing through these acoustic and vocal, and then it'll be the DJ PA that I'm using, and also the speakers and everything. So I'm really excited for that. Going to use a wireless rig with some Shure Wireless QLX and a V7 capsule I always use for weddings. Also be using that for the officiant for the ceremony. I hate lavaliers. If you guys have a good lavalier you like the sound of that you don't have to mix the crap out of, that's fairly inexpensive, let me know. Yeah, excited for that. Don't have to run sound for my gig tonight. That's why I did this today, because I can just put it up and be ready. But I also wanted to do a quick run through of my cord situation for tomorrow, given that I need to get that ready. Yeah, if you guys have any more questions, this is literally a 16-minute video now, so I know that's long, but I really wanted to walk through why I like what I like, and why I'm moving to the 70 and 90. Part of me wanted to just get 2 70s, man, but the depth of the 90 sub, I was thinking about trading it in, but even if I ran the 90 with the 70 full and just ran one tower, that would be sweet too, just to get that really big thump for DJing. But stereo is obviously always better. I don't care who you ask, who you are. Not super better with these arrays, but it definitely does make a difference, especially in the live music, like playing live music setting. However, I'm gonna run mono with my one tower for that. I did run the 90 at a lake gig I played on July 4th. It was like 2 days after I got it, and I have some video on my Facebook page of a couple of the songs, and I think I've got some more I'll post later. But man, the throw of these too, that's one thing that people were worried about with the 50M. Point source, 15-inch 1-inch compression driver. This one throws pretty dang far outside, but these new arrays with these bigger drivers, I think they said they're 3.8 inch or something like that, as opposed to the 2.5 or 2.75. I don't know the exact measurements. They're bigger, 4-inch drivers. I don't know. My point is, the throw for the 70 and 90 between them changing the angle, and then I think just the bigger drivers, the throw and the dispersion. The dispersion is the same as the 50. It's not quite as good as the Bose dispersion. It's 120 instead of 180. Bose literally, they literally point their speakers angled, like the actual array is angled inside of the array. These ones I don't think are, as far as I remember. Obviously the bottom is right here. But the speakers themselves are straight out. They're just super wide dispersion themselves. And then yeah, I guess with that, this is a 60 by 90 dispersion, I believe. So 60 vertical, 90 horizontal. So you're getting half the dispersion from this as opposed to 120. Or 120. So I guess not quite half, but yeah. So I guess theoretically, if you took these two and towed them out a ways while you were DJing, you could get like 240. But I don't know if you would want to do that for aesthetic purposes. I think they look better straight on. I do think the column arrays, they probably would work better in a wider room as opposed to longer room than the towers would. Or the tops would. Tops would probably work in a longer room better. But again, that's all speculative. I haven't used these in a big room yet, so especially not together. I've only used 115 at a couple of gigs, mainly outside right now is what I've done it, because it's summer. But yeah, this one I played at a farmer's market in, technically it's Alto, but Middleville, Alto, Caledonia, Michigan area. That's where I'm from, Michigan. And I used the 15 with the top, mono into it with an acoustic and a vocal. I have a kick pedal that I use, a Roland kick drum pedal, and a looper and a electric modeler that I just get kind of a gritty boost out of. I don't use it for full-on electric tones with my acoustic, but I turned this on and cranked her up, and man, there's probably, like, if you look out here, it's probably like this section here is what I about covered. Actually, a little wider. It was more like maybe here to there. And I got multiple compliments from people that were vending there. Hey, dude, like, I appreciate it. You were loud enough for us to hear, and it sounded good, but it wasn't so loud that we couldn't talk to people. And this is like, this is 50 yards out. So clearly they throw, especially outside. So I'm really happy with that. And man, the sound musically, from a recorded music perspective, the sound of these continues to impress me, the 7090. Again, I don't know if it's the vent or just the tuning of the sub, but especially on that Let Me Love You, where it goes boom, 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 that punch with the bass line, it was nuts. Even with me turning this up to get close to the same bass, the balance, turn this up +3, turn this down -2. And I do always run these at unity. I don't ever boost the inputs. And obviously there's no input boost here. You can go up to +10. I've never done that. The best response, I believe, is at -3, at least for the tops. But I run this at +3, -2. That's what I normally run for weddings. Sometimes I'll even do, sometimes I'll do -5 and 0. Pretty much normally a five setting difference. It's a volume. It's not a dB. It's a volume. So that tends to be the best balance for me with what I think I like my ears. And again, for these, I'm running +4 sub, +3 mids, -1 or 2 on highs. If you really like crisp highs, like these, get it without being. I just hit a dragonfly in the air. These two 70 and 90 really have those crisp highs without being super harsh. However, I just don't. To me, like, highs just tear my ears up. I still have good ears, at least I think I do. So I turn them down on most things, even on the 50. I will say too, the mids on the 50 sound a little more, I don't want to say choked, but what's a good way to put it? The mids sound a little bit like they're coming out of more of a horn, as opposed to 70 and 90, where it's more of a full speaker sound. I hope you guys know what I'm trying to say. It's kind of like you're coming out of like a campground speaker, where it's like more focused but not as full and not as musical, as opposed to like a home theater speaker vocal, where it's like round and it's lush and it's it's in your face, but it's not harsh. And again, that might be the mix that I'm doing. I didn't mix the 50 at all when I was mixing actually yet, so that might also be a thing. Maybe if I turn the mids up and the highs down a little bit, that might do that. Do that for me on that too. You guys can tell this is just me thinking. I think I might do a different video and just make a summary of everything I've been saying the past 25 minutes, but this is, I guess, my vlog. I'd play some music for you guys. I'd need another device and a Wi-Fi connection and all that for these. So I might do that later. Maybe I'll do it with my iPad. plug it into a mixer and run it out of that. But then I can't use Bluetooth, so we'll see. I don't know yet. But I'm gonna have to get these set up or taken down. Another thing too, like the tear down for these is nuts. They're literally it's the 1, 2, 3. So sub, pole, tower. I don't know what the words are that they use it, but they call it the 1, 2, 3 setup. And you know, same with the 50. This is way more intense. It's got, you know, you need a cord to hop, and then you need a cord to your mixer, and you gotta set up the pole, you gotta put the speaker on, you gotta move the sub. The handles are more ergonomic. Also, they have trays for these now. They have the dollies. I did order one of each of those for the subs as well. So hopefully those will come in. Evie, get it together with your covers though. Like, I already scratched up. Well, maybe that wasn't a scratch. I feel like I'm scratching them up though. Yeah, here's a little one. Yeah, it's rubbing off a little bit. Luckily the coating's pretty durable, but I know I scratched on one of the sides of the 70. Either way. Yeah, they did well with the coating too. I mean, this is a 6-year-old sub, but I bought it 4 years ago, and obviously, you know, it's been used. That's just something white that ow, it's hot. Something white that I got on it, and it needs a wipe down. But it's in pretty good shape for 6 years old and being used for a little while pretty regularly. The tops need a wipe down too. There's a couple scratches, and you know, they got clunked a couple times, but they still sound good. They still sound good. But yeah, this is the difference in the size bag. 50, 70, and 90. That's nuts, man. They're so much bigger. Man, all this grass is getting blown into my cases. Get out of here. Yeah, I'll probably do a succinct video, but this is my vlog on this, y'all. Hope you guys enjoyed that. If you did watch all the way through, feel free to like and subscribe. I'm going to be doing more videos on my equipment and just like being a musician in general, man. You know, like I said, I'm doing a wedding tomorrow. I'm going to play. I'm running sound for the ceremony. I'm playing live for the cocktail hour, and then I'm DJing the reception. You know, I don't necessarily MC. I'm not a super out there kind of person for that kind of stuff, but I will like announce people if they want me to. So that'll be fun. I always have fun at weddings. I do a couple of them a year, mainly just for friends of my wives and I's and stuff like that. So another thing too, musicians, don't skimp on weddings just because people are your friends. If they want a good DJ that's gonna put their best foot forward for them, that isn't going to charge them $5 grand, but still wants to do a good job, like, they will pay you. Don't skimp on what you get paid, because that takes value away from other guys that are doing it for a living, that really do put their all into it. So, and plus you get paid more, so know your worth, I guess. So yeah, I'm gonna post this on YouTube, y'all. I'll also post a summary with you know, some more succinct points for these. Probably do like a slow setup too. So all right, have a good one, guys.